this weekend because there were some business cards in the back of one of her podcasts. She's still using her royal title, HRH, despite our late Queen warning her again.
It's not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit. They do not use their names to make money. It's an honor to have an HRH.
Absolutely.
So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when they've been instructed not to, I think is absolutely infuriating in Buckingham Palace. It was agreed with Queen Elizabeth that they will not use the HRH title. That is a long-standing precedent, and there's good reason for it. Basically, the HRH is only given to working royals and senior members of the royal family.
Parliament just triggered the nuclear option against Prince Harry. Bob Seeley, a former Conservative member of Parliament, had promised to introduce a bill that would strip the Duke and Duchess of Sussex of their royal titles. This isn't tabloid gossip or social media outrage bubbling up from the internet. This is the British government officially moving to erase Harry's royal identity using a law so ancient it was last used during World War I. The Titles Deprivation Act of 1917 was designed to punish royals who sided with enemy nations during wartime. Now it's being weaponized against the king's own son, not for treason in the legal sense, but for what lawmakers are calling symbolic betrayal of the crown. And Harry isn't just shocked or disappointed, he's absolutely raging behind palace walls because that Duke of Sussex title isn't some ceremonial decoration, it's his golden ticket to everything he's built in America. Before we dive into how things started unraveling, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're into deep dives like this. We break down the biggest stories in entertainment without the fluff, just facts, receipts, and a bit of chaos. And trust me, you're gonna want to see how this one ends.
A new poll by Find Out Now has revealed that most of the public is supporting the king in this family feud, ongoing family feud, after Harry's bombshell BBC interview. It follows the Court of Appeal's decision to not overturn the ruling on his security in the UK.
The numbers tell an absolutely brutal story of Harry's collapsing reputation across Britain. Recent polling data shows a staggering 62% of Britons now demand Harry's title be stripped immediately. Among older voters and conservatives, that number rockets past 70%. Creating an overwhelming mandate for action. Even Labour supporters who traditionally lean more sympathetic to progressive causes are walking away from Harry in droves. This isn't just royal fatigue or tabloid drama burnout that fades with time. This represents a complete nationwide rejection of everything Harry has become since leaving Britain. The transformation is shocking when you consider this is the same person who once commanded universal sympathy as the boy walking behind his mother's coffin.
But of course, the real measure of success of both of them will be the same as it always has been. How much damage can they inflict on our royal family, on our monarchy? I said it before, I'll say it again tonight. King Charles should strip them of all their remaining titles and cast them out from any connection to the royal family. How could any of them trust them as far as I could throw them? Because without it, they're just whining millennial windbags with a permanent victim complex, knowing that victimhood is what makes them all the money.
One thing becomes clear: there's no turning back.
But Kimsey, you recently interviewed a friend of the royal family, Hugo Vickers, who revealed the late Queen was so fearful of Harry and Meghan that she wouldn't want to be alone with them. Let's just take...
There is no trust when it comes to Prince Harry, and the picture he tries to paint with Queen Elizabeth, even saying during that BBC interview that the Queen wanted him to have this level of security, we're finding out the truth, and it's that she bothered by them.
Major breaking news out of London. Buckingham Palace announcing Harry and Meghan will no longer formally represent the Queen. That means they will no longer receive public funds and they will stop using their royal titles. Those changes will take effect this spring. So Katie Nicholl is now joining.
It's my pleasure. It's a big news story. As you can imagine over here, it really has, well, the phone hasn't stopped ringing, put it that way.
And in terms of your initial reaction to this latest news, that in fact it feels like it's a full removal in the sense of not just senior royal duties, but
a progressive new role within the royal family. While the royal family does modernize, I mean, the Queen sends tweets, it is an age-old institution, and I think that idea of tradition and everything we expect of the monarchy doesn't quite sit well with that idea of
for the monarchy means for the monarchy.
Well, people are talking about it being a constitutional crisis, and I'm not sure it is a constitutional crisis. I mean, through circumstance and the Cambridges having street.
That goodwill has been systematically destroyed through years of relentless attacks on the institution that made him who he is. Palace insiders describe the shift as unprecedented in modern royal history. with approval ratings that would make any politician immediately resign from public life. But here's where the situation gets really ugly and personal for Harry. His reported meltdown behind palace walls isn't about hurt feelings or wounded pride from family rejection. This is about cold hard cash and the complete destruction of his carefully constructed American empire. Every single Netflix deal worth millions, every book contract that publishers fight over, every Hollywood door that magically opens for him depends entirely on those 3 magic words that appear before his name.
Children, Harry slipped down from being the spare to the heir to the 6th in.
Let's be real. Harry's reputation in the UK is collapsing fast. The latest polling shows 62% of people want his title stripped. Among older voters and conservatives, that number jumps past 70%. Even Labour supporters, who are usually more sympathetic, say he's finally crossed the line. This isn't just tabloid fatigue or royal drama burnout, it's a nationwide rejection. Across the political spectrum, the message is the same: the title no longer fits the man. And for Harry, that shift is more damaging than any headline.
A new poll by Find Out Now has revealed that most of the public is supporting the king in this family feud, ongoing family feud, after Harry's bombshell BBC interview. It follows the Court of Appeal's decision to not overturn the ruling on his security in the UK.
But here's the real gut punch. People in Sussex, his own...
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
Duke of Sussex. Without that royal connection, he's just another celebrity with family drama trying to sell victimhood stories in an oversaturated market. The mystique that makes him special in America completely evaporates overnight. His leverage in business negotiations, his automatic access to exclusive events, his status in rooms full of genuine power players, all of it depends on people believing he's still connected to the crown. Strip that away through parliamentary action and his entire brand implodes instantly. That's why sources close to the situation say he's not just bothered or concerned, he's absolutely furious and reportedly fighting this legislative threat with everything he's got, including expensive legal teams and political connections. Meanwhile, Meghan has just handed Parliament the perfect ammunition they needed to justify their harsh actions. Just last week, she conducted what seemed like a routine podcast interview and sent the host a seemingly innocent thank you basket afterward. But printed right on the accompanying card, clear as day, were the damning words, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. This is exactly what Queen Elizabeth explicitly told them never to do during their final meeting about stepping away from royal duties.
Oh, shut up. What do you mean the stakes are this high? Who do you think you are? Other than a latte-munching imbecile living in luxury in California while the rest of the world's a cost of living crisis, moaning and whining about an institution which gave you the titles on which you now trade millions of dollars. What are you talking about? Stakes?
Is stepping in with a clear message: if you want the fame and the money, then drop the crown.
Now, a staggering 2/3 of Brits are calling for Harry and Meghan to be stripped of their HRH titles.
The hypocrisy is beyond anything I've ever seen.
He's a duplicitous, self-centered, vile, disloyal hypocrite.
With King Charles on his way out, Prince William is expected to take over the crown. And apparently at the top of his list is to say, "Peace out, Meghan, you're done." And he plans to formally strip Meghan Markle of her royal title.
It's not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit. They do not use their names to make money. It's an honor to have an HRH.
Absolutely.
So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when they've been instructed not to, I think is absolutely infuriating in Buckingham Palace. It was agreed with Queen Elizabeth that they will not use the HRH title. That is a long-standing precedent, and there's good reason for it. Basically, the HRH is only given to working royals and senior members of the royal family.
You're in America now, and we don't give a shit about you. You're not our fucking prince. You'll never be king. We hate your wife. Stay at home in your $29 million mansion, all right?
Oh my God, I can't even. These two, Meghan and Harry, are the worst.
Now, Meghan, just last week, she did her first long-form sit-down podcast interview. She showed a basket that she had sent to the host of the podcast as a thank you for allowing her to come on. And here you can kind of zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex.
The late Queen made it crystal clear that using the HRH title for commercial purposes was absolutely forbidden, and they publicly agreed to these terms when they negotiated their exit from royal life. Yet here's Meghan months later blatantly violating that agreement for what appears to be business networking purposes. Parliament has developed a brutal name for this type of behavior: title trafficking. The concept involves using royal status and prestige to boost personal business ventures and commercial opportunities while simultaneously claiming to want privacy and independence from the crown. The hypocrisy has become so blatant and repetitive that even their most loyal former supporters in the media can no longer defend these actions with a straight face. King Charles has made the calculated decision to remain completely silent during this unprecedented parliamentary attack against his own son. He's not stepping in to defend Harry, not making any public statements of support, and not using his considerable political influence behind the scenes to stop this legislative assault on his child. Palace insiders reveal that Charles has deliberately chosen this hands-off approach because he doesn't want to be publicly seen as a father personally punishing his own child over family disagreements. Instead, he's strategically letting the parliamentary institution handle what he cannot politically accomplish himself without looking vindictive or petty. But his calculated silence in this moment speaks volumes about his true feelings. By refusing to intervene when he clearly has the power to do so, he's essentially giving Parliament an unofficial green light to proceed with actions he supports but cannot publicly endorse. It's absolutely brilliant political strategy wrapped in the appearance of plausible deniability. Charles gets to maintain his image as a loving father, while the parliamentary system does the dirty work of disciplining his rebellious son. This way, when the title gets stripped, it looks like an institutional decision rather than personal family revenge. Prince William is reportedly giving this entire parliamentary takedown effort a quiet but enthusiastic thumbs up behind closed palace doors.
There are growing calls to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. The New York Post is reporting that locals in the UK say enough is enough, especially after Prince Harry's disastrous BBC interview, which aired hours after he lost his appeal for taxpayer-funded UK.
I just can't stand her. I just think she's such a phony.
Harry's digging an even bigger hole for himself here.
Well, I think he's dug so deep now, he'll strike water any day now.
William is reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles.
She slaughtered.
The hypocrisy is beyond anything I've ever seen.
He's a duplicitous, self-centered, vile, disloyal hypocrite.
I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. If they don't want that, that's entirely up to them.
We immediately went into the trenches together.
Yeah. But she said she was in the trenches. She alludes to being in the trenches when she was in the British royal family. Girl, you lived in a castle. Like, you got a princess title. People were falling at your feet. People would run your bathwater for you. I mean, I could list the perks. I could list them forever. The trenches, she has got to, the Delulu is on another level. Sometimes I envy it.
Lady who's very popular for being awful.
Prince William, he's reportedly furious after it emerged that Meghan Markle is still using her HRH title, despite agreeing to drop the title when the Sussexes left royal duties.
I think Meghan Markle has been very brazen recently with the use of the HRH.
Brat, to be honest, and very, very entitled.
Harry and Meghan, they have an issue when it comes to their memory and when it comes to the truth. She is relentless, she is shameless, and she is exhausting. You are not a successful female entrepreneur.
You're in America now, and we don't give a about you. You're not our fucking prince. You'll never be king. We hate your wife. Stay at home in your $29 million mansion, all right?
We'll see King Charles do this because he's not confrontational. I don't think that he likes the fact that he's been accused of racism towards his grandchildren in Omid Scobie's book. So I think he's going to continue to tiptoe.
Sources close to the future king reveal that he's completely finished with Harry's endless public antics and sees this legislative action as absolutely necessary to protect the crown's long-term reputation from further damage. For William, this battle has evolved far beyond simple family disagreements or sibling rivalry. This has become about actively defending the monarchy from someone who appears to be systematically trying to destroy it from the outside while still benefiting from its prestige. William has watched in growing horror as Harry repeatedly trashed their father's reputation, launched vicious attacks against their stepmother Camilla, and turned their beloved grandmother's final years into an exhausting media circus filled with accusations and controversy. He's witnessed the institution that will one day be his responsibility get dragged through the mud by someone who should be protecting it. Now he's finally watching Parliament fight back with real consequences, and palace sources say he's not only refusing to object, he's quietly encouraging the process. The future king has apparently made the cold calculation that his brother is no longer worth saving if it means protecting the crown. This controversy extends way deeper than simple family drama or personal disagreements between relatives. Parliament is now formally accusing Harry of something they call title laundering, which involves systematically using his royal status and prestige to interfere in foreign political affairs where he has no legal authority. Since relocating to America permanently, Harry has made the shocking decision to publicly criticize fundamental American constitutional principles like the First Amendment, actively backed highly partisan political movements that divide the country, and consistently aligned himself with progressive causes that directly conflict with the centuries-old tradition of royal political neutrality that defines the monarchy. The final and perhaps most damaging insult to the royal family is how Harry has systematically transformed family betrayal into his primary full-time business model and source of income. From the globally televised and explosive Oprah interview that destroyed reputations to the controversial Netflix documentary series that aired private family conversations to his devastating tell-all memoir titled Spare that revealed intimate family secrets, Harry has deliberately chosen to go completely scorched earth against the people who once protected and elevated him. That level of sustained attack goes far beyond sharing personal truth or seeking justice. That represents deliberate destruction of the people who once sacrificed to protect him during his most vulnerable moments. Parliament is now publicly saying what millions of British citizens have quietly believed for years. You absolutely cannot systematically burn down the royal house that built you and still reasonably expect to keep the keys to its front door. The institution that once elevated him above ordinary citizens is finally fighting back with real consequences, not through dramatic headlines or media statements, but with the one thing that money cannot buy or influence cannot corrupt: legitimate governmental authority and centuries of established legal precedent.